R.I.P TV. Subscribe now. Jetzt abonnieren.
Look in the camera? Okay.
No, look at me.
Oh, look at you. That's how it's done. It started, how we got together, it started from when breaking was starting to die out, right? And you can say we were the last of the original breakdancers left. But I didn't know everybody else. I knew Buck 4. And I started going around the city battling a lot of people. I battled against Ken Swift, I battled against him, I battled against Buck 4, and most people in the group. So as I started meeting people while I was battling them, I tried to decide who I wanted to be down with me. I wanted people who had original style. So that's how it came out to be like this.
You guys didn't know each other before this?
No. See, but we were break dancers and regular street dancers like 5 years back. Until then, 4 years ago, we started getting into performing. And we became our professional to try to bring it to a higher limit, a higher peak.
Explain what a battle is. You're telling me about battling the breakers.
A battle shows off your macho-ness and shows off how good of a break dancer you are and how original you can be with your style. When two groups are battling against each other, say I'm battling Buck 4. We do it for fun sometimes anyway. And he's gonna go down and he's gonna do his best. And then it's up to me to outdo him, to outdance him. And if I do better, I get a point. And if I don't do better, he gets the point. And you could go like for 5 rounds, or you could go for 25 rounds.
Not doing the same moves.
Yeah, and you have to have different styles, because most people these days in the city are doing one move, and the whole city's running it. I'm sick of it. I made it up, and I stopped doing it because the whole city's doing it. It's called a continuous backspin. They call it windmills sometimes. It gets really boring watching that. And, that's why I like to have a group, alongside of me, like these people over here who has their own original style and don't do the same move every time they go down.
Do you guys practice together all the time?
Yeah, it's together and on our own.
Yeah.
But we are.
How much do you guys practice?
When we're getting ready for a tour, we practice 8 hours a day. And on our own, we practice whenever we want.
Okay, do you think breakdancing is keeping people out of trouble? I mean, what's it doing for kids in the city?
How you think I'm doing? How you think we're doing?
Is it replacing,
I have no record, I ain't get no criminal record, none of us do. So we're doing fine. I think if we wouldn't have been performers, I don't know what would have became of us. Because it's hard enough for most people living in the Bronx and New York City just by being a minority, for them to get a job, a decent education, things like that. So I think we're coming off pretty good.
What are your plans? Do you plan to get better? What do you guys plan to do?
We plan to evolve. We're also recording artists too. We have an album out, ready for battle, single called Up Rock. And we traveled a lot, Germany, Japan, French Riviera, London, Belgium, Denmark. We've been through a lot of places.
Are your battles with other groups, do you think that's taking the place of, you don't have to get me on the mic, do you think that's taking the place of old gang wars?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Since about 71, 69, around that time. Right now, there's very few groups out here that's worth battling. Because I'll break against a person and he'll do only the same move every time he goes down, so why waste my time? And we haven't lost a battle yet in New York City. We battled other groups in New York City, and we haven't lost yet.
Do you guys have any dancers you look up to? Is there anyone you like that you've seen on television or in the movies?
Rocksteady Crew. That's it.
Who else? Anybody else?
Yeah, my brother's group, R.I.P. Rockets.
Yeah, some other breakdance groups.
The Hot Feet Rockers?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Them, my brother's.
See, they're like when we started off, we came from a subdivision from a street crew called the Bronx Boys. That's it?
No, keep going.
Oh, we came from a subdivision, which was T.B.B, Rocksteady, where Rocksteady originated from. We were the breakdancers for like a gang. And Hot Feet Rockers are like, how you say, the people who we, I would say, are coming up after us.
Next generation.
They're like our people. We help them. They break along with us when we go into competitions sometimes. And they're like the family of us. They're family. There's a lot of people in New York City that are down with RSC Crew, but they're not the performers. And a lot of people like to claim their RSC Crew and try to get over and do a show. And then, you know, that really looks bad.
They did Flashdance. See, we were on 43rd Street one time. We saw a little sign on the street that said, "The Flashdance Kids." We like walked up to them. We said, "This Flashdance. You little kids from Flashdance?" Like whipped out our cars and everything. What's up? We the RSC Crew. You know, we started breaking them. But that's like, it's like kind of like in the beginning for us. We used to perform in the street in front of cafes, some cafes on Columbus Avenue. They used to give a couple of, a little something. But now since we've gone professional, it's sort of like it's not really lowering ourselves. But for the stuff that we're doing now, it's not really, maybe if it was like for fun, we would probably go on the street, not for money, just go on the street for fun and dance. But we don't lose the street. We still dance in the street once in a while. It's not like we forget our friends or we forget the street. That's where it all started.
We forget our vultures.
Yeah, it's gonna last in the street for a very long time.
Yeah, do you think breakdancing's a fad, guys?
It's like a hobby.
It's not a fad?
It's in my heart.
It's a culture, subculture.
They say in Australia it's a cult.
We all grew up with it.
They say that there's a cult in Australia for breaking. So we heard, we're like, oh no, what is, things are going critical breaking now.
Think about all they do is breakdance every day, 24/7.
Do you guys eat, sleep, breakdance? Do you think about it all the time?
No, not really.
Not as much as I used to. I do, but
I think about it a lot, but I don't put it to my mind, because I got girls, so I gotta think about her too.
How do you invent moves?
Be creative.
imagination.
Be yourself, and don't look like nobody else. Because there's a lot of crews. You see one person go down, you see the next person go down. It looks like the person before him is going down. They all look the same because they're doing the same move. When we go down, we don't do the same move. And you can tell by what you're watching, whether I'm lying or not. And go look at some other breakdancing group in New York City and tell me if they all look like the same person.
We're the first group to become professional in breakdancing in New York City.
Very first?
Yeah, came out. The first article was Village Voice. A sculptor. He didn't really discover us, but he was a graffiti photographer in Henry Chalfant. And we did a show in Common Ground. It's in the Village. And it was a little graffiti. It's called Graffiti Rock. And it was breakdancing, graffiti, rapping, and DJing. And that was like the first. It came out in the Village Voice. And that was like the first article on breakdancing. And from then on, things went boom.
Everybody wants a piece of the rock.
Everybody wants to be down.
Everybody's doing it for the money. Right behind us.
Yeah, I'll tell you like this.
Switches.
You do videos?
Everybody stopped breakdancing, right? We kept on. Everybody sees that there's money. They say, yo, I want to go breakdance now.
Yeah.
After people have downed us and say, oh, that's played out. We shouldn't be doing that no
Who's
more.
original? Who's who? And
But, now I laugh in their face. I say, look at me and look at you. What you got? And look what I got.
I have one question for Daisy. I read somewhere that breakdancing is mostly men. Do you think that's true?
No, it's not.
You know a lot of women that are doing it?
Yeah, a lot of good girls that are doing it, yeah.
How come there's only one in this group?
Because there's only one, I
One's
guess.
enough.
Yeah, I guess one's enough for
Now
them.
show me.
Who? No, not me. I'm all right.
No, we're not.
Now,
Do you mind working with all guys? Is it okay?
It's fun. I like it.
Are you
I've done it
training with
for
other girls and all, other women?
No, just with them. That's all.
I think we got it. Thanks,
Let's go
man.
ahead.
Thanks.
Go ahead. No, a little further. Yeah, go ahead. Good. No, that looks good. I can use. Go ahead, babe.
Now?
Yeah.
Skinny style.
Okay, good.
RSC TV. Subscribe now. Jetzt abonnieren.